Hello nobody watching this video, it is I, the Squid-Boy, here to talk to you about random garbage you probably don't care about. Today's episode, I would like to talk about a game mechanic that I think a lot of people underappreciate and don't think is as good as it really is. And that is stuns in video games, particularly multiplayer video games. And if you're wondering what I mean when I say underappreciated, I'm talking about the fact that stunts in video games are usually a lot more powerful than people give them credit for. Now, think about what happens when you throw a stun grenade versus when you throw a normal grenade in a video game. When you throw a normal grenade in a video game, it hits the ground and then it stays on the ground for a second or two, and then it explodes, killing people in the blast radius. Now compare that to the way stun grenades work in most video games. You throw the stun grenade, it hits the ground and instantly explodes. And in a 1v1 situation where you get hit by a stun grenade, well, I'm sorry, but you lose. There is nothing you can do except sit there and pray that your opponent is stupid. This to me is the cardinal sin of stuns in video games, because your skill doesn't matter when you get stunned. So the typical gamer response of "get good" doesn't even apply to you when you get hit with a stun grenade, because frankly, your skill in that situation is irrelevant. The only person's skill that matters is your opponent's. Now think for a moment about what you and your opponent can and can't do while you get stunned. Well, for one, you can't dodge anything effectively because you barely can move, if you can move at all. You can't even shoot your opponent, making all forms of attempted retaliation useless. And well, now let's look at what your opponent has to do to kill you. Well, your opponent has an incredibly easy target now. It's basically just a point and click adventure game for him. And your opponent is now completely safe from you because you can't do anything. And that's not to mention the fact that stuns in video games often act as an equalizer. It doesn't matter how much health your opponent has before he stuns you, because after he stuns you, he is completely safe to run away or heal, or just kill you. Now, I do think it should be noted that things like flashbang grenades do not fall under my category of stun grenades, because, well, you can't really see your enemy. If you know where they are before the flashbang was thrown, you can still shoot them, and if you know where they're going to be aiming, you can still dodge them. It should also be noted that partial stun grenades are not nearly as powerful as full stun grenades. And what partial stun grenades are with a full stun grenade, you can't move and you can't shoot. Partial stun grenades are you can't do one of those, so you can still either shoot your enemy or avoid their attacks long enough to get yourself back on your feet. I do believe the issue with stun grenades has more to do with their implementation than anything else, because I feel like when game developers add stun grenades, they think of them more as a thing that gives you a slight advantage rather than something that can just win you a fight, but most of the time, it will win you a fight. Now, I'm not saying we should just completely remove stuns from all video games, although I wouldn't be entirely opposed to that. I'm just saying that people and game designers need to realize that stun grenades are not as weak as they think they are. So yeah, anyways, this has been me complaining about something you don't care about for 5 minutes straight. Goodbye, subscribe, the whales are imploding, it is bad, subscribe. If only I could throw a subscribe grenade at you. Then you'd subscribe. Da, 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 da,